What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Photoshop challenge. My name is Wade Acuff, and today we're going to be working with symmetry options in Photoshop. We're going to go over these options first. We're going to take a look at what they can do for us and how we're going to use them to design our skateboard deck. First, though, there are in the description below there are some links to get you started. There's a source file that does have something in it today. We do have a skateboard deck available for you guys. But yes, there are other links that will get you involved with the Creative Cloud community. And let's just jump into it. Let's see. So we have custom skateboard graphics, symmetry. Use the symmetry options to create a custom skateboard deck design. I'm going to trash this immediately. Just get out of here. And then we do have this. I'll walk through this real quick. We have a layer that's already clipped and ready to be drawn on, painted on. Let's see. Does it work? Yes, it works. But we're going to jump to this in a minute. Just letting you know there is a little sort of a mock-up. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. Let's make a new layer and let's start walking through the symmetry options in Photoshop. So if you go up here and you see this little butterfly and you click it, you'll get your symmetry options. First, we will go through a couple of these, and some of them are really they're very similar, so we'll cover that. But if you go in, press, this is the vertical one, if you press enter, you know what, let's back that up. If you go to vertical, it'll give you options to transform this. For these vertical, horizontal, and diagonal, all they do is really scale up your guide. They're not really changing a whole lot to what it does, but I highly recommend you going in here and checking out what these do. They are really fun to mess with. Really, you know, I don't know. They do what, if you play with them, you'll see what they do. They're very almost just acting like a mirror. Like there's a line, it's going to create a line on the other side. This is just one of my personal heroes. But yeah, they're really easy to use. Really fun to mess with. You can make all kinds of shapes. Play around with it, and I'm going to lump in together these three of vertical, horizontal, and diagonal, because I'll go to horizontal and I'll show you. You know, you can make any of these a diagonal. I think they just give you a preset option so that you already have it. But if you want to make something vertical, you know, like maybe this is a good way to mirror. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe it's is this a palm tree? I don't know what this is. But yes, there's a little island. It's being reflected. Maybe there's some fluffy clouds floating by. I don't know. So there's ways you can use this. And delete that. We come down to dual axis, and it does exactly what it says. It's going to start mirroring everything on multiple axes. Your X and your Y in this case. So you can have fun with a lot of that. Moving on to wavy. Wavy is it doesn't really do a lot. It won't do a lot for us today, but it kind of just warps a little bit what you're doing. It's very much like a horizontal or any of those diagonal, but it's just a little bit of warp to it. So again, mess around with these. Maybe you'll find a cool function with that. Circle is interesting. I'm going to scale this down just slightly. With circle, you can, of course, come around the edge, make all sorts of, you know, shapes. Make something, I don't know, maybe it looks like an arm tattoo. I don't know. But if you get into the middle of it, start making little circles. Maybe a little squiggle coming out here. Maybe a little squiggle coming out this way. Something. And you have, you don't know, maybe this is the start of a record I don't know, a record player or you know, something, I don't know, some vinyl. But it's fun to mess around with. And right now I was just selecting, if you go into, this is probably a good time to mention this, if you are in your Symmetry tools and you press V or any other key or function that will get you out of the Symmetry option, once you press B, you'll go back to that same Symmetry guide. However, if you ever get out of that, you can select last use Symmetry and it'll place it where it was. That's very important because if you go to transform and you move the Symmetry, then you're no longer in the same place. So just keep that in mind. And if you do wound up saving the Photoshop file and you come back and you were using Symmetry, it should still be in the same place. But let's keep it moving on. Control A, delete. Let's see, spiral is interesting, of course. You can draw around the axes, but once you start to cross over, it starts pulling on the next, kind of where the next line is. So it's trying to do this the whole time. So again, probably some really fun applications for this. Just wanted to show you how it works. Delete that. Now, parallel lines, the way this works is it tries to map to the canvas. So it's kind of scaled to what our canvas is, so that if I draw over here, yeah, there we go. If I draw over here, it's going to start giving us things towards the edge here. If that makes any sense. But you can make a parallel line or design. And you can, this is the one to note that you can scale this down. Parallel lines, scale this down. And it kind of works a little better if you don't want the edges to get cut off. Of course, you can make the edges get cut off if you go to the edges. But anyway, you can do a lot of interesting things with that, I'm sure. And I'm going to get to the meat of this. These two, Radial and Mandala, are probably my favorite. Yes, let's just stick with 5. Press enter. These are basically like instant zen, and you can just get completely lost in making things. I mean, if you want to really get into just hanging out with Photoshop, you know, having a good time, these are the ones for you, for sure. Again, this is what I'm talking about with, I'm going to make this 5 as well. You can set your segment count. You want to be aware that your machine may not be able to handle some of the segments. I would say test your limits. You'll notice that I'm using a hard round with a little bit of taper, mainly because the same reason. A brush with a texture stamp or a lot of stamps is possibly going to grind your computer a little bit. You can see how this is lagging quite a bit. And you know, nobody wants that kind of lag when you're working. And also you'll notice probably the further you get out from the edges or from the center, there will be a little bit more lag as well, depending on, you know, your machine and their specs. Because in the middle, we're all good. But this is one, if you don't want to do, for the challenge, if you don't want to do a skateboard, if you don't want to do any of that, I highly recommend just coming in here, picking some fun colors, you know, making some fun shapes, figuring out what you want to do, just spending some time with mandala or radial, and you know, have some good times with that. I use this, I think, around Christmas to make like a custom snowflake. Of course, featuring one of Story, one of our cats. So you know, there's a lot of things you could do with this. But yeah, the mandala one is probably hands down my favorite to just have a good time with, and you know, figure out what I want to do. And it's so quick, and you know, so accessible to just get something that looks cool. And that is sometimes hard to find in some of these programs. But in this one, it's like instant, like, uh-oh, we've got something I can hang out with for a while. Okay, I think that covers everything for this. Oh, you can also hide your symmetry. We talked about transform. You can hide your symmetry guide. You can turn that off, but you can still create with it off if you want. Okay, so now I want to stop for just a second and say, what's up, chat? How's it going? I hope you guys are all doing well. Yeah, Umacorn says they don't have this feature in AI. Probably not yet. I would love to see it happen. But yeah, if you guys are over on YouTube, join us on Behance, behance.net/Adobe Live. And again, join our Discord. There's a lot of fun things happening in the Discord. We're gonna get back to this because we don't have a lot of time to work with, and I want to show you guys a little bit of this, a little bit about this mock-up. Let's just delete that. Turn our graphic example on, and again, like I said, we have a layer ready to go. And look, our guide's off. We can start designing. I mean, our guide's on. We can already start working on this if we wanted to. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use a different. Let's see. You know what? I'm just going to fill this layer so we can go ahead and get started. We'll grab a color. Shift F5 will take you to the fill options. And bring this down slightly. Click OK. So yeah, real quick. This is not really made as a mock-up. It is a mock-up just so we have a canvas to work with. But if you want it to look more like a mock-up, I would take this deck layer, make a copy by hitting Alt and dragging it above these clipped layers, and then just unlocking, and then changing it to multiply so that you can, keep our little bolt holes that are up here. And I'm going to turn that off for now, though, because we don't really need it. But what I am going to turn on is our vertical. Shift F5 is not working for me. Well, I'm not sure about why that wouldn't be working for you. Yes, it works for me. Maybe someone in chat can help with that. Oh, you're on a Mac? Shift should still be the same. All right. I think it still should be the same. Maybe it's Command. No, wait, that's a different thing altogether. Okay. We have to keep rolling here. Hopefully Sam maybe can help you out with that. I'm not sure. All right. I'm going to use a little reference, a little inspiration for my skateboard deck. I know they can help you out on the Discord if that's something you'd like to do. You can join the Discord at bit.ly/psdiscord if you didn't already know that. All right, so my inspiration for this is going to be Alphonse Mucha, an Alphonse Mucha piece. It's his Flowers series, and this one is called Lily. So I'm going to make a bunch of vines and a bunch of flowers, and let's just see what we can do with it. I'm going to name these layers, #name your layers. I'm going to just call this one background, and I'm going to name this one, double click in here to name this vines. And I'm going to select a color that I think will work for us. Let's see, is that going to work? I think that'll work. You can also turn up smoothing if you want. We can have it on for a little bit. We'll use it for a little bit. But I'm just going to get in here and start designing. Just start working with what the vertical tool is going to allow. I am going to keep, let's see, I'm going to try and keep this area a little clean, a little clear, because I want to put something in there later. So this design is going to have like a few flowers, a few leaves, and that sort of thing. And we're going to work really fast here. It's going to be very sketchy. I would call this more of a sketch than a full-on design. And the way this is going to wind up looking possibly might be more of a, because it's going to be so rough, there might look like some paint's being chipped off, and that sort of thing. I would make that way more deliberate if I wanted to keep that look active. So right now it's just a product of how I'm working with this hard round brush. Maybe we'll add in some little leaves. So maybe that's crossing over here. And yeah, you could use any of the other options, the symmetry options, if you wanted to. You could, just use the mandala and design on this. You don't have to design on this if you don't want to for the challenge. I'm just kind of winging it here, using a little bit of reference. I'm going to change some thickness on this. Function Shift F5 says RB. Try that out. I trust RB with that, so check that out. Nope, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we're getting some false info. Thanks, Ted, for that link. Alphonse Mucha is definitely one of my favorite artists. I'm just going to make a few more little things here. I mean, I'm really, like, this is just me playing with this. This is exactly what I'm asking you guys to go do with these symmetry functions. It's probably getting a little busy down here. Let's see. I want to maybe reserve this space up here a little bit because I want to add in some flowers. You can't have a lily inspired painting or drawing or skateboard deck without some flowers. So I'm going to make a new layer. Down here you can click on the plus sign to make a new layer. I'm going to name this flowers. Clip this, change this to a almost white, not quite white, and then we're going to throw in some really rough. There's a couple of reference flowers here that are kind of standing up on end. They're not fully open, so we're going to use that. Make a little thing there. Maybe come in here with another smaller one. Yeah, symmetry, it's really fun to mess with, really cool. I'm gonna drop in a monster flower right here. Let's see if we can make this work. Maybe an extra little. And you'll see once you get to designing or playing around with the symmetry tools, you don't have to know how to draw to do this. You know, for this specifically, you might, you know, find some images that you want to maybe trace or copy over, or, you know, whatever it is you might want to do with it. Let's add another flower over here. But you can also just use some symmetry tools to make some really fun, cool, you know, some kind of design of some sort, and then just add your images on top. That's fine too. It's really just about exploring these options for yourself. So this flower is looking pretty rough, and that's okay. Alright, I'm going to come back to our vines layer and just give a place for these to live. I'm going to kind of scratch out these vines that are around this. And I'm just using my, you can see my tilde key, I'm just pressing it down, but the little hotkey display, keyboard display is just going nuts over there. I'm going to select our layer again, give us a little bit of vine action that would connect these flowers to something a little more tangible. I'm going to hop back on our flowers layer. I'm going to grab these because I want to use these down below. And right now we're out of the symmetry, but I'm going to hold down Alt or Option on the Mac, and then I'm pressing Shift at the same time to keep us on this straight up and down line. And I'm just going to drag these, I don't know, maybe down here, and then I'm going to scale them in like that. Maybe I will take this flower and do the same thing using the lasso tool. Press L, V, then Alt or Option, and then just select it, moving this down, something like that. Now this is probably right on top of where the wheels would be, so you're not really going to see it, but this is just about having fun with these tools. Again, I'm going to come in here and we're going to scratch out some of this area just so that there's a little bit of, you know, I'm going to get rid of this whole thing, and I'm going to make this vine a little bit smaller, and then we can come back in here with the same color, maybe do something like this. Yeah, something like that. But you know, if there's anything I've learned from these challenges or, you know, master classes, if you have flowers, and I'm going to go rename this, if you have flowers, you have to have a skull. Like, the great Paul Traney has taught me, if he's taught me anything, you have to have a skull. So let's put a skull in the middle here. Let's see what we can do. It's going to be stylized. It's going to be, you know, something. Maybe it could be an animal skull. I don't know what we're doing here. It could be an alien skull. We'll see what we get. We'll see where we land with this. But you know, also skulls and skateboards go hand in hand, so that is a thing. And maybe we just throw in some fun little scratchy design to go with it. And maybe we put a little tiny flower here. Maybe a bunch of these tiny little flowers. You know, maybe this is representing regrowth, you know. I don't know. I'm riffing here, obviously. But there you go. Yeah, Paul's influence is very widespread. So we got a few flowers here, a few flowers there. And that's going to do it for us. Mostly, this is, again, just a sketch, and I want to see what you guys can come up with. Join us over on the Discord for that. This challenge, again, doesn't have to be the skateboard, but just use some, if you just want to make a mandala with some, you know, fun colors and exploring, find a palette, a color palette you like, and just explore that. That's enough, really. But if you want to make a skateboard design, that's cool too. I've provided you with the canvas to do that. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. There's a lot of great live, awesome content on the way. So stick around for that. And yeah, join the Discord. Again, that's bit.ly PS Discord. Tomorrow is going to be our community day. And I really can't wait to see or have you guys involved with that, because we're going to go through a bunch of what we've seen on the Discord. So come back for that. And yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. And bye.